Hello everyone, this is the Cool Geek, and in this video we are going to discuss how we are going to use the object hierarchy in Excel VBA programming. So we have used or seen the examples of properties, methods, and events that are associated with an object. Now, to give you the good news of how the objects are placed. So, what is the idea here is that since everything is an object in Excel VBA, what happens is each and every object has a path, or has a mother um, hierarchy in it. So, like for example, let us consider the India as an example, uh, wherein I have India here with me, and in India there are many states, that is Karnataka or Andhra Pradesh, let's say, and others also. Now in them we'll have many cities. Let's say I have city Bangalore, or let's say Hubli or something like that. And similarly in Andhra Pradesh we have Hyderabad and Secunderabad and so on. Now in them we are going to MG Road, or another road in Bangalore. Similarly, there are many other roads in Bangalore. Similarly, another in Hyderabad, let's say the Amirpet area, and in the Amirpet area, I have shop number 10. Now, obviously, the shop number 10 that is in Bangalore is different from the shop number 10 that is there in Amirpet, but they are seen to they are identified. If only we see them, we feel that they are the same. Okay, but if we move a higher step above, like let's say these two are objects. Now if I see their mother objects, they would be nothing but MG Road and Amirpet. Now where are they present? They are not present in the same state. They are present in same city. So they are present in Bangalore or Hyderabad. Now obviously, where are these cities present? They are present in Karnataka or Andhra Pradesh. Then we have finally which they merge into one big thing, that is India. So India is the biggest hierarchy, and based on that we have the divisions starting to flow through. Now to give you a better picture of the objects and how they are placed in Excel VBA, let's look at this hierarchy. The the topmost hierarchy is nothing but the application. It's a term used in the Excel VBA to branch all the objects to one particular node. So applications. Now I have not put the exhaustive list of all the objects that would be there, but this is a skeleton or the most common ones that we are going to use along the way. Now we have workbook. Now let's say a book's name is book1.xlsm, or let's say we have Excel VB basic.xlsm, anything it can be. Now under an workbook, what are present? Sheets. So let's say for example, if I just minimize this, you see this is my workbook, this is my application. So under Excel application I have one workbook, right? I can have another workbook here. I'm just going to close that workbook, but it's present under one application. So this is the application. I can save this, and I can close this workbook. I can close this workbook also. Now all I'm left with only is the application. I'll reopen the Excel VBA book. So I reopened my book. Now this is the workbook. Now in the workbook we have sheets. Now each sheet is associated with cells, and obviously the cell names are like the shop names. The shop names can be similar. So let's say we have a sheet, cell A1 in this particular sheet, and we also have a sheet A1 in this particular sheet. But each of the cells are associated with the immediate mother of object. So that is nothing but a worksheet, right? So we have in workbook some worksheets, and in the worksheets we have a range. It can be either one cell or it can be multiple cells, but cells is nothing but a way to denote um, number of one particular cell within the thing. It's like saying within all the cells that are there in Excel, I want to pick any one of the cell. Similarly, in within the charts and pivots are placed within a worksheet. Now we cannot say chart 1 is present in some X workbook. Okay, it should be in a particular sheet. Similarly, a pivot is also present in a worksheet. Now in range we have either a column, that is here, or a row. Now each row has an index, so this is row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and so on and so forth. Similarly, we have index of columns, so column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, and 5, so on. Now obviously these are having alphabetical, but internally the code will identify them as 1, 2, 3, and so on. Now a cell is nothing but any one cell. So for example, if I select C6 here, it is nothing but sixth row, that is a row, comma, column, right? So the row, comma, column it is represented at. So we are in the sixth row and the third column. So this would be nothing but, um, let me just have that. This is nothing but 6, comma, 3. So this is a small example of how we can represent a cell. Now coming back to an example here, let's go through few of the examples that I have already mentioned here. Let's assume that we are in a book1.xlsm. Now in the book 1, in the workbook, we have multiple sheets, right? Each of them are represented, they can be represented in multiple ways. So this one remains the same. Now let's say we have sheets. So in the sheets, in the pool of sheets that I have in Excel VBA, let's pick out a sheet name called sample. Right now, in the sheet sample, let's say a sheet name is nothing but the sample that the name that we see here. So there is a sheet called as sample, and in that sample we have range 1, and in the range view A1 we want to put something called as a number called a number 5, or a value 5 within that cell. Now you see that we are trying to simply buy, if you consider shop example, I want to buy a pencil from shop number 10 of Amirpet, or let's say I want to buy a pencil from shop number 10 of let's say MG Road. So it is nothing but in which direction we are pointing it to get the value. Now the same thing can be represented in different ways. Sheet sample, let's assume that sample is the first sheet. I can also associate it with associate that with the sheet 1, or it can be sheets sample again, but this time I can represent it by cells 1, comma 1. So basically all these three lines are the same, but the representation is different. Usually I'm going to use the third type of thing, which is much useful for me when I'm trying to write VBA coding. It's just the comfort level that I have with every user has a different comfort level of using uh, the the representation. Or let's say, there are situations where I need to optimize and write a better code, then we have to choose between them. Right, so we'll be discussing more about how we are going to use and when we are going to use different representations. So all you need to know right now at this moment is that we can represent them in multiple ways. Now let's assume that we are only using one particular workbook, right? So obviously in that workbook we will not have a sheet from other workbook. So what we can do is we can simply remove them and write it. Now it's like this. Uh, let me just tell you how we are going to associate it with the same example here. Let's say you are in Hyderabad. Uh, you are in Hyderabad and a person comes to you and he asks, can you tell me where is shop number 10 of Amirpet? Now, obviously, you will not tell the person, okay, you are in India, you should go to Andhra Pradesh and then you are in Hyderabad, and then you should go to Amirpet and shop number 10. Obviously, what you will say is, okay, you are you are already in Hyderabad, so you can simply go to Amirpet and directly shop number 10. Right? So he will give the directions from here. Obviously, a foreigner coming to India first time and he wants to move to Andhra Pradesh, then you would say, okay, go to Andhra Pradesh. So let's say you are in Delhi, go to Andhra Pradesh first, then Hyderabad, then Amirpet, and then shop number 10. So basically, if we are in a particular workbook, we need not repeat the above hierarchy. It's bound that it's going to be present there. So simply when I'm using only one workbook, I'm associating that with directly sheet. So basically, I am having this workbook and I'm directly starting to represent the value or a object um, within that workbook directly starting from the sheet node. Right. So again, the same examples are written here, but I just removed the work workbook here. Now, obviously, if you are using multiple workbooks, this is how we are going to write the representation. So also there is another thing like if you're using multiple workbook and you are writing a code in a particular workbook, so we will mention something called as this workbook, which is easier to represent. We'll come to this later, but as of now, you must just remember the object hierarchy that we have discussed here. Also remember that this is not the exhaustive list of objects that are present in Excel VBA. This is only the more basic one or the more common ones that are used for Excel VBA programming. Thank you for watching this video. In the next video, we are going to cover the Excel Visual Editor, that is VBE. It's basically a pre-prep for how we are going to use the environment to start writing Excel VBA.